Hello there, guys. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about saddle making for model horses. I have been doing saddle making and tack making in general on and off since I started painting horses. It costs a little bit more money to make saddles because you're buying more stuff. You're buying like rings and leather and stuff like that. So it is a little bit more costly to do. So I haven't really put a lot of investment in buying things. But today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about my process of making a saddle and so forth. So here I have a Western saddle that I am currently working on. Let me move this over, guys. There we go. Okay, so a couple of things you need when you start thinking about making tack is you're going to need a tree, okay? A tree is basically a building block, so you build everything either under it or on top of it. It's exactly what a real horse saddle would have. It has a tree in the middle that gives the saddle support and support for the horse and support for you, and it's, basically a big deal. So you can buy these trees from like Rio Rondo. You can buy them from like eBay. They've got metal ones, they've got resin ones. I make my own resin ones. The reason why I like resin is because if, let's say, the horse that I'm making it for, the gullet here is just not wide enough, I can take my grinder and I can just grind away the resin, make it a little wider, good to go. So I like the resin trees a whole lot better than the metal ones because I can adjust them. So that's kind of a big important thing. Also, you're going to need leather. This is tooling leather because, of course, I tool on my leather. So tooling leather sometimes can be a little bit more expensive. It depends. I go to my local leather shop, and the owner there, he does leather work, and he's got lots of little scraps left over, so he gives me a deal if I buy the miscellaneous scraps. Now, you don't want really thick leather. I don't know what this is in ounces, but you don't want thick leather. So let me give you an example here. This is some English bridle leather. You can see the difference in thickness. This top one is way too thick. The bottom one is actually still a little bit thick, but it's better. I haven't weighed this out, so I don't know because I skive my own leather. I buy, like I said, the sheets or the scraps of tooling leather or whatever leather I decide I want to use. And my trainer has a skiving tool, and we just basically skive off the bottom half of it, and I'm left with this. So it's nice. But the interesting thing is that some of the leather, depending on what part of you get from the cow, like if you get the butt or if you get the head leather is actually a little bit finer grain, so it's easier to skive. Some of it doesn't like to skive very well, so yeah. But you can see here I've got the lower skirt of the Western saddle. I've got the upper skirt, which goes like that. And then I've got the two pieces for the top of the saddle. So these would go like that. Gosh, I can't even think of the name right now. I'm totally having a brain fart, but yeah, so those would go there, of course, on either side. And I've made probably quite a few of these saddles. You can also make your stirrups out of resin. You can make them out of metal. You can make them out of leather. You can make them, gosh, hundreds and hundreds of ways. And there is different types of Western saddles. So if you say, let's say you wanted to make an English pleasure saddle, Rio Rondo sells silver trim for your saddles, which is really cool because they sell little pieces that'll go on the edge that looks like trim. And it's little tiny pieces. But of course it's kind of expensive. But it's very cool. Now, you can also do like extensive tooling on your saddles. So let me grab one of my saddles. Hold on, guys. Okay, so you can make, this is a saddle here that I just basically got finished. It still has to be oiled and stuff, but you can see here the tooling that I did on it. This is more of a show saddle without the silver because it does not have a back cinch for this. If you look at a lot of Western pleasure classes, they don't have a back cinch because they don't need one. The back cinch basically for a Western saddle is to keep the saddle from going forwards, and the breast collar is to prevent the saddle from going back. So you really don't need one for a Western pleasure class, so you can put like little decorative goodies on there. I show in a lot of Western pleasure classes, so I get to see a lot of different you know, pretty saddles and things like that. But overall, Western saddles are not that hard to make. A lot of people say, oh, they're really hard, blah, 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 you know, they're so much harder than English saddles, and oh, blah, 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 they're so bad for your horse's back. Do some research. Okay, so with that, you can also do English saddles. Okay, so I have, oops, sorry guys, move this stuff out of the way here. Okay, now with an English saddle, there is some websites that sell like patterns that you can buy to make your like saddle, either Western or English, but it's actually cheaper to make your own pattern unless you're doing a Western one. You can buy the kit from Rio Rondo. It's a very good investment, especially for first-time model horse tack makers, because it comes with everything you need to know, patterns and, you know, all that lovely stuff. So it's very good to have if you're starting out. Now, they don't sell English patterns or anything like that. So there is other websites, but you can make your own. So here is my tree pattern. Okay, this is the pattern for the tree. You can make this you know, just out of paper, and you can use a lot of different things to make it you know, sturdy. This here is for the bottom part of the seat. We've got the top fenders and the lower fenders. I'm not a big English person, so I don't know the specific names for these. Lower skirt and top skirt, Western person. So, you know, just kind of, you got to work around with what you got and what you have. Also, you need an X-Acto knife. But you need to be very careful with these things. They're super mega sharp. I mean really sharp. You can slice your finger all the way down to the bone with this. Now, some people say you need to use this to cut your leather out. That's not true. You can use a really good pair of sharp scissors, like scissors for fabric, especially thick fabric. I've actually found that cutting out the leather with scissors is so much easier and so much cleaner than using the X-Acto knife. Takes less time. You don't have to worry about killing yourself with the X-Acto knife. I mean the scissors, sorry. You don't have to worry about killing yourself with the scissors like you do with this. So, but I use this for more delicate things, like let's say if I need to trim something in a corner that the scissors may not be able to get. So yeah. You also need a large amount of supplies in terms of like jump rings and square jump rings, different sizes, buckles from Rio Rondo. You need, God, little nails. I mean, there's so much stuff that you need. It's not even funny. In terms of stuff that you're going to need for the future, especially when you start making girths and all that other lovely stuff. Now, a lot of the other things that I have in my collection here are for making bridles, like bits, and Rommel reins with beads and so forth. But these are just some of the basic supplies you need, like the leather, and tooling leather is so much better because it's easier to skive. You can tool it, you can dye it. It's so much easier to dye, so much better to use in terms of just working, is what I'm trying to say. Oh gosh, sorry guys, I'm still yawning. And you can have, for like the seat cover, you can have all different sorts of leather, like mocaskin leather, macaho leather, whatever this is, something. But this is basically, it's just the really fuzzy leather. It's good for the seat. Sometimes you can use it as a decorative thing for your stirrups. I mean, there's lots of different stuff, but tooling is another project in itself. It's a lot different than a lot of things, because once you make a mistake, you can't undo it. So it's a lot harder than what you think, and it's for somebody that knows a little bit more of tack making. So if you're just beginning out, it's a really nice way just to get your pattern, figure out the size of your saddle, figure out, what horse is going to go on, work out your tree, get your supplies, work on that first before you start doing tooling. Tooling is a totally different date. Make a whole bunch of saddles first before you start getting into tooling. Now, of course, if you want to do just like a flower in the corner or something, they got stamps for that. That's really easy to do. But if you get into something more complicated, like putting patterns all over it and wanting to put silver on the saddle and a bunch of other things, that gets really complicated. But overall, start working on your pattern. That's the first thing. Start looking at leather prices, find your tree, gather up your supplies, and later on, I will be making another video on the basis of putting together your saddle after you've gotten everything cut out and all that lovely stuff. So I will see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching.